There are a couple of news items that came up that I'd like to ask you about. Here's one in Washington Examiner a few days ago. It says, "Buckle up, Trump team touts three-legged stool of policies to bludgeon Huawei." And the three stool legs, it says, deprive Huawei of technology regulation. Taiwan Semiconductor is the second one, $12 billion in Arizona, and then the 5G clean path. Can you comment on those?
Yeah, so not only have they essentially blacklisted Huawei, which means that U.S. chip manufacturers and chip designers, you know, the most advanced chips, some of these we use in, military gear, are not allowed to be essentially shipped or exported to Huawei. At the same time, TSMC, which is Taiwan Semiconductor Corporation, is bringing a new fab to Arizona, they announced. Now, that's a $14 billion 5-nanometer fab, which is the latest technology in chip manufacturing. TSMC is one of the most capable chip manufacturers in the world. They manufacture chips for Qualcomm, for Huawei, and for Samsung. One of the things that we want them to stop doing is manufacturing for Huawei. And then finally, this idea that, we have Huawei telecom equipment surrounding military bases in the United States because they've begun to sell their equipment to rural telecom operators. So there's actually a bill now that's been passed for $1 billion to rip and replace the Huawei equipment. So it's really, a three-legged attack on Huawei. That being said, there's still a lot to do to regain telecom leadership.
Well, that's a good point, but at least we're making progress, right? I mean, this
absolutely.
In the last administration, they didn't seem to be as concerned about it. Maybe they were, they just didn't publicly let it be known. Here's another news item. This one is Epoch Times. UK plans to phase out Huawei from the 5G network. And I think maybe that's because Boris Johnson got coronavirus and realized what the Chinese had unleashed on the world. What are your thoughts?
Well, so first of all, 15 years ago, British Telecom went all Huawei. And so Huawei was always going to have a foot in the door in the UK. And I knew as we started talking to them as part of this effort to get the Five Eyes, the allies like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK off of Huawei, it was going to be difficult for them. Of course, then the coronavirus happened, and thousands of citizens died in that. And really, now on both sides of the aisle in the UK, they've really flipped in terms of what they're willing to accept from China and the Chinese Communist Party and Huawei. So it's actually a good result and good outcome for us. Unfortunately, it's a tragedy of how it came about.
No doubt. But at least we're making progress on this. The coronavirus is unfortunately here, but it will go. But if Huawei got control of our networks and 5G around the world, that might be a permanent blight on civilization, really.
Well, it really gives China dominance in the global economy, the global information economy, where data is a strategic resource. Kai-Fu Lee, their leading artificial intelligence researcher, says that China is to data as Saudi Arabia is to oil. So their goal is to control the world's data because they know that it feeds and strengthens their lead in artificial intelligence.
Yeah, no, that's a scary thing. But I think we're making progress. It's something we've talked about here in the Economic War Room with you before. And since the last time we talked, we've made advances. I'm excited about that. We produced, as we always do, a battle plan, and we told our economic warriors who watch the show and take part in what we do, we told them, get out there to call your congressman, make this known. We're teaching Americans to be the small ships that make the difference, kind of like the Dunkirk story. And we're also looking for opportunities. And I'm excited to announce, General, that you've agreed to potentially help us with our Liberty University training on 5G and for advisors, both what the issue is, but also how people can invest in such a way as to help make America stronger. So thank you, General, for your leadership and your terrific work on this issue.
So excited to be a part of that, and I think it's a good opportunity for us to come off the defense and actually start playing offense.